Things you don't really need to know about mangosteens. Lightning round, let's go! The mangosteen where I'm from is referred to as manggis. The mangosteen is a seasonal fruit that can be found around June to August. Flip your mangosteen to its bottom and count the stigma remnants. This number corresponds to the segments of flesh inside the fruit. The sap of the mangosteen plant is a bright yellow, which carries over into the Bounsweet line's designs. The mangosteen is also known as the queen of fruits, which explains Serena's many monarchally designed aspects. And now we just need a durian Pokémon. Hello, Professor Rosemary here and welcome to my lab. Around a month ago, my brother brought back for my family a butt-ton of mangosteens. And I mean a butt-ton. And then, inspiration hit me like a truck. As a fan of mangosteens with its tangy goodness, I'm surprised to realize that I don't ever recall seeing any mangosteen products in supermarkets. Or none that stand out to me at least. So I thought to take it upon myself to design a dessert using fresh mangosteens. But it's not Professor Rosemary's lab if it's not Pokemon themed now, is it? So let us today make some Bounsweet candies that taste like the fruit it's inspired from. So yeah, before I break a record for saying so too many times, let's get making. Here's what you'll need. Let's start by making some mangosteen puree. If you didn't know, this is what a mangosteen looks like. We can easily see how the fruit translates into Bounsweet's design. To open the fruit, this was what I was taught to do. Simply hold the fruit between your palms and apply firm pressure, until you feel the rind split. Then open the rind to expose the soft white flesh. In almost every fruit, there will be at least one extra large flesh segment that bears the seed. Scrape away the flesh from the seed and add the flesh to the seedless segments. After massacring enough Bounsweets, blend up the flesh, and then strain it. Now we have some beautifully fresh and silky mangosteen puree. To make the mangosteen agar, measure out your puree and warm it up over some hot water. Doing this instead of boiling it directly helps to preserve its color, nutrients, as well as its flavor. This step also ensures that the molten agar doesn't just clump up when we add it later. Speaking of which, sprinkle your agar-agar powder and sugar over your hot water and give it a quick mix. Then bring it to a boil and simmer for a few minutes, ensuring that the agar powder has completely dissolved. Once ready, pour the molten agar into the warm puree and mix well. Following that, pour the mixture into a lightly oiled sphere mold and leave it to set. If you don't have a sphere mold, you can allow it to set in the container, then scoop out spheres with something like a melon baller. Next, let's make the Gyuhi or glutinous rice cake for the Nerikiri dough. In a heat-safe bowl, throw together your glutinous rice flour, water, and sugar. Give it a mix and then steam it for 15 minutes to gelatinize this flour suspension into our Gyuhi. In the meantime, let's dry out our Shiroan. On low heat, dry out your Shiroan and stir constantly to avoid burning. Now, I was lazy at first and tried skipping this step, but the extra moisture made my Nerikiri dough too sticky to be used. So yeah, don't be lazy, all good things take time. You'll know it's dry enough if you can handle the paste without it sticking to your fingers. This took about 5 minutes for me. When it's done drying, turn off the heat and spread your Shiroan in a thin layer. This step helps to cool the paste faster, preventing it from browning from the residual heat. Now back to the Gyuhi. Once it's done steaming, remove it from the pot. And with a wet spatula, knead it a little bit to even out the consistency. Then dump your Gyuhi onto a surface generously dusted with corn or potato starch. Sprinkle more starch on top so we can work with the Gyuhi. Now for every 10 parts of Shiroan, we will need 1 part of Gyuhi, which means for 250 grams of Shiroan, you'll need 25 grams of Gyuhi. Measure out the amount of Gyuhi that you need, split it in half and set aside. With that ready, return your Shiroan to a low heat and add in half of your Gyuhi. This won't mix easily, so try your best to mush the Gyuhi into the Shiroan. Once that's done, go ahead and mix in the rest of the Gyuhi. Once that's mixed in, take the Nerikiri dough off the heat and knead it by hand, making sure that there are no lumps of Gyuhi left. For best results, you can pass the Nerikiri dough through a strainer while it's hot. Finally, Tear your nerikiri into small pieces and leave them to cool for a few minutes. Join the pieces back and repeat the process until your nerikiri dough has cooled completely. Doing this helps to cool down the dough faster so that the residual heat doesn't turn the dough brownish. Wrap the cooled dough in plastic wrap before proceeding to the next step. Alright, now with all that prep done, we can get to the fun part. Start by coloring your nerikiri into the colors you need, and from this point on, your imagination's the only limit. But for my little Bounsweets, I'll be following this template I made to keep my tiny legion looking consistent. And with these final details, we are done! So there you have it, Bounsweet Mangosteen Nerikiri. Personally, I find it pretty hard to describe what a mangosteen tastes like because the taste to me is pretty unique. But it's said that they taste like a blend of peaches, pineapples, strawberries and lychees. The nerikiri itself has a very light and delicate flavor, so the mangosteen's goodness really shines through here. And that's all for now. I hope you can try this out. Leave your suggestions in the comments and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.